YouTube world, back at it once again. Instant Classic 8 is currently Wednesday. It is 9:40 p.m. And there ain't no Cruiserweight Classic on. So there really ain't shit to watch right now. I already miss it. We'll talk about that later. First thing I want to talk about is Roman Reigns. I don't know, and I hope I'm wrong. I may be wrong. I don't know. I don't know if Roman Reigns is, I hope I'm saying this word right, salvageable. Am I saying salvageable? I don't know if you can save Roman Reigns from the hell that he is currently in right now. He gets some cheers. You do hear it. But the majority of his reaction are boos. Every time you turn on TV, you turn on Raw, you turn on a pay-per-view, he's just getting booed. And I don't know if it's ever going to calm down. This is not John Cena. When Roman Reigns was in the Shield, I think they were cheering the group. But as soon as he broke away by himself, that's when the boos came. Cena, as a singles, I mean, he's really been singles all his career. But early on in the singles, I'd say until probably around 2006, Cena was getting cheered. He was getting cheered. I remember the time he got drafted to Raw. He came out there. People were fucking losing their minds. And then it got a little stale because, pretty much the same shit for 10 years in a row. So I understand that. I don't mind. I like Cena. But I can understand people going from loving him to hating him. And, that was me. And now I'm back to loving him again. I don't have a problem with Cena. But Reigns is just from the start. Boos. Not good reaction. They're not really putting him in situations where he can get a good reaction. The times where they did that, he got a great reaction. The best time, I guess you would say, is that championship match he got against Sheamus. Was it the end of last year, I believe? The one he had on Raw. And he had a really good reaction, and people were very excited. I was very excited for him when he won the title. And after that, nothing. And of course, Triple H wins, and he races Triple H, chases Triple H and gets his title back, and nobody cares. And he's going against Dean Ambrose, and no one cares. And he's going against Seth Rollins, and no one cares. And I'm not saying they don't care about that match. They just don't care about that guy. They care about Rollins. They care about Ambrose. I've heard Rusev get a couple cheers before Roman Reigns. And I just don't know what you can do. Obviously, everyone's saying turn him heel, which ain't a bad idea. Because at this point, being a babyface, it's not going to work. And I don't think him being a heel, joining with the Authority is a good idea. I really don't think that's a way to go. I don't know what you do with the guy. But they need to do something quick. Because they're trusting this guy to be the top dog. And he's not really getting top dog reactions right now. AJ Styles is getting top dog reactions. John Cena, of course, is getting that. Seth Rollins is getting a really good babyface reaction. But I just don't know what you do with Roman. I really don't. They moved him away from the world title picture for a bit. I guess it's just going to really bring him right back. Like around, before the Royal Rumble, maybe like, was that TLC pay-per-view or something like that. I don't know. If you have a thought on what they should do with Roman Reigns, I mean, definitely let me know. But at this point, I'm not really sure what you can do. They need top talent. I believe they had someone that was top talent, and they just got rid of him in Alberto Del Rio. Now, granted, they've treated Alberto Del Rio like a joke ever since he's come back. Alberto El Patron was awesome when he was on Lucha Underground. I saw a couple of his stuff, and he was good there. All around the indies and whatnot. Was he in Ring of Honor as well? I believe so. Alberto El Patron. And he had good matches, and, Del Rio, he can be somebody. But when you bring him in here and you stick him with Barrett and Rusev and Sheamus that no one cares about, and you stick him with Dutch Mantle, The dude's set up to lose. And then he has this relationship with Paige, and they screwed both of them over because of that. And that's bullshit. It's fucked up just because you don't want them to be together. That's just the pettiness of WWE. And I think it's bullshit. I really do. And, you know, hats off to Alberto Del Rio. You came in, you got paid a bunch of money, didn't really do shit, and you bounced less than a year. Straight up. Big ups to Alberto Del Rio, man. He's gonna land somewhere, and he'll be fine. Like I said, I just think it's pretty messed up on what they did with him, what they did with Paige. Obviously, Paige is probably coming back. She's probably gonna get buried, and that's unfortunate. I don't think it's fair. Speaking of, getting rid of Del Rio, they're losing some talent, and I don't think that's the best thing to do, especially when you have this brand extension. Let's talk about SmackDown first. I personally enjoy watching SmackDown over Raw. I'm not saying that to be a part of the smart group that's saying that SmackDown is just a much better show because it's only 2 hours. But I just think it's better put together. They take their matches a little bit more seriously, at least in my opinion. Now, granted, the roster definitely lacks. They don't have anywhere near what Monday Night Raw has. But I enjoy SmackDown Live. This past week, you had Cena and Ambrose, and, that was fine. Ambrose, beat him clean. That was, cool to see. And then you have AJ Styles as the champion, which I think is awesome. The tag team division can definitely use some work. I mean, Rhino and Heath Slater are your tag team champions. But then again, Heath Slater's actually getting reactions over this silly storyline. I got kids, and hey, go with it. Sure, why not? The Usos are heels. I'm not a big fan of that. I just think that just kind of waters them down a little bit. I wish they could be heels and still be able to do all this shit, but obviously we're not going to be able to get that because then you'll be cheering them. American Alpha, we haven't really seen what they can do. Miz and Ziggler, I like the fact that they're spending time on it, but I don't think it's working. I don't know what they're doing with Ziggler. He's going to beat the shit out of Ziggler forever, I guess, until he turns heel or until you give him a big babyface win and everyone cheers, and I don't really see that happening. So I don't know really what they're doing with Dolph Ziggler, but again, I think a depth issue is definitely in play. You got guys like Randy Orton who are getting concussions and being taken out of the game early on and not being able to be a part of the match on pay-per-view. You got to have guys who can fill that spot. And right now, Miz is not that guy. Ziggler is not that guy. You got to build some main event guys for SmackDown or bring some guys in from NXT. Just something that needs to be done, honestly. But like I said, I think it's a show. It's an easier show to watch for sure because it's only 2 hours. I think the commentary is hot garbage. I love Mauro Ranallo. I love Mauro so much. But you're sticking with JBL, who JBL is not the best, but, deal with it. But fucking David Otunga is the worst. And I'm going to say this right here. All right. David Otunga and Byron Saxton. They are just there, and this is a black guy talking, so I can say this shit. They're just there to fill a quota. They're there to be the black guy, the token black guy on the 3-man announced team. And they're there just to fill a quota. I would prefer Renee Young and Byron Saxton to me. Byron Saxton for sure, but definitely David Otunga's spot. Get him the fuck out of there. He brings no value to the team. He cuts guys off at horrible times. I just think he's a terrible announcer. And granted, he doesn't announce, and I understand that. I get that. It's not a thing that he does. But get somebody who can announce. I don't give a shit who it is. Just somebody. You can get the guy from NXT. You can get, again, Renee Young. Just some. Why does it need to be 3 guys? Mauro and JBL can't handle it. Even though, again, I'm not a big fan of JBL. I think a 2-man team would be much better. Why do you need 3 guys to be on that SmackDown team? Just my opinion. Raw has the talent, but they also have 3 hours. And a lot of what I'm seeing this on SmackDown as well, but a lot of what I'm seeing is you're getting repeats. How many times can we see The New Day versus Gallows and Anderson? We've seen it so many times. And I think their tag division is suffering. I mean, you had all the guys come out there, Shining Stars, Enzo and Cass, Gallows and Anderson, The New Day, some other people I don't even remember. I think they should have had tag teams all on one brand. You should have the women on another brand, and just went with that. The women, who knows what the hell is going on with them? So Charlotte is the champion. I don't have a problem with Charlotte being champion. I personally, as much as I love Sasha, I think Charlotte is better at being champion than Sasha. She carries herself like a champ. She looks like a champ. Not saying Sasha doesn't, but I just think Charlotte does a little bit better. Bayley comes in, which is awesome. Bayley's been getting good reactions. She comes in and is granted a title shot against Charlotte, mainly because Sasha got hurt. And then Sasha comes back. She's not hurt. So now she's back in the title picture. But then you have a 3-way to determine who's going to be in the match. And then you have a double pin that they didn't address, but they just addressed this past week. And now it's going to be a triple threat match. Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte for the Women's Championship. What the hell is going on? And this is all to build up Charlotte versus Dana Brooke. That was a raspberry. That's what we call a raspberry. That's garbage. Dana Brooke, it's not very good, yo. Not very good at all. I just think they should move on to something else, personally. You have, what's her name? Nia Jax destroying everybody. Now I guess she has a feud with Alicia Fox. Whatever. You got to give the guy, she's been beating job girls for like the past month. So it's, you give them somebody they can, as like a mini program with. They're kind of doing the same thing with Braun Strowman, I think. Braun Strowman just killing everybody. Now he's on a weekly killing Sin Cara. So, I guess some progression there, but it's still not really doing much because he's not very good in the ring. Your main event scene, I think, this is my opinion, I feel like it's like a little refreshed, personally, on Raw. You don't have your Cenas and your Ortons and your Reigns, or, well, you have Reigns there, but he's not in the title picture right now, but you got Kevin Owens, who's the Universal Champion. If you got Finn Balor, you got Seth Rollins, you got Rusev, you got Roman Reigns. You have all these different people, man. New people. You don't have the same Kane, Big Show, not Shawn Michaels. He's been gone forever. Kane, Big Show, John Cena, Randy Orton. You don't have that bullshit anymore. And I think that's good. And they should definitely continue on, bringing in these new guys, giving them a chance, seeing what they can do. Raw is going to get killed every single week until February. Well, actually, until I will say about January, until the playoffs start. But right now, they're going to get killed. You have Monday Night Football every single week. You got the presidential debate coming up. They're going to get killed. You might as well just try it with these guys and just go with it and see what happens. You have Night of Champions coming up, and it looks decent. I want to see the main event match with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. I think that should be good. They have the introduction of the Luchador, excuse me. They have the introduction of the Job Guys, excuse me, not the Job Guys. They have the introduction of the Cruiserweights to Monday Night Raw. Just this past Monday, you had, who was it? You had Cedric Alexander, you had Grand Metalik, you had Brian Kendrick, and you also had Rich Swann. And they went out there and they put on a match at 10:20, 10:30, the absolute death spot. Why couldn't you have these guys come out in the first hour? Here's the thing. I'm a child of the Monday Night Wars. And if you're a child of the Monday Night Wars, you can kind of agree with me. At least if you watched both shows. With me, I was watching WCW Nitro and WWF Raw. Both of them at least until about mid-99. Because of that, I say about 98 you got this a lot. When Nitro moved to 3 hours. They did the best thing possible. That first hour from 8 to 9, before Monday Night Raw started, from 8 to 9, they had nothing but cruiserweights. Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Psychosis, Juventud Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Jr., La Parka, Super Carlo, just all these guys just going out there and having awesome matches. Dean Malenko having awesome matches every single week, and they would do it for that first hour. And then they would bring in Hogan and Goldberg and the NWO and all the main event shit. No Flair, the Horseman, Piper, Warrior, all the old guys basically. They bring all those guys in at 9 o'clock. So you flip to Raw and you can have a good show. But that first hour is all for cruiserweights. Now, granted, we probably won't get the whole hour, but I think that first hour should definitely be some cruiserweights in there. The 4-way was the number 1 contenders match that Brian Kendrick won, so now he's facing the champion at Night of Champions. That should be cool. Very much looking forward to that. Keeping on with the cruiserweights, we just had the Cruiserweight Classic. I was a big fan of this. I thought this was very, very good. I watched pretty much the whole thing. I skipped a good handful of the first round matches. When you look at the brackets, you knew who was advancing and who was not. I guess the only one that I didn't know was Gargano and Ciampa. But everyone else, you can pretty much guarantee that the guy that's the more popular one, the better one, was the one that was going to move on. And that's exactly what happened. Once the second round got started, and that's when the shit got good. Kiro Tozawa and Jack Gallagher had a good match. Drew Gulak and Zack Sabre Jr. had a great match. Probably the best match of... would you say the best match of the tournament? I think a lot of people can agree with me. Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander. If you haven't seen that match, definitely go back and check that match out. Kendrick versus Kota Ibushi was awesome. Kendrick bust out, of all fucking things in WWE, a burning hammer. He did a burning hammer on it, and it was insane. Absolutely insane. Grand Metalik and Akira Tozawa was good. Your semifinals, which was just last week, the semifinals and the finals, Grand Metalik beat Zack Sabre Jr. A good match. And then TJ Perkins beat Kota Ibushi, which I thought was a great match. Most people were upset. Most people pretty much saw that they were beelining for Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kota Ibushi for the finals. I'll tell you this much. If either one of those guys would have signed a contract, they would have been in the finals. They probably would have won the thing as well. Neither of those guys signed. Kota Ibushi, I guess, wants to still work Japan. I'm not sure what's going on with Zack Sabre Jr. They're probably not offering real money. Hey, man. It's not my wallet. It's not my checkbook. But it's at the point where some of these guys on the indies, you gotta start offering them real money. You can't tell me that you can't benefit from having Matt and Nick Jackson on your roster right now. And granted, you're probably going to have to cut them a big fat check in order for them to come in, because they're probably making a shit ton of money on the indies right now, because they're probably the most popular act on the indies. So you're probably going to have to cut them a big check. Guys like Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Kota Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr., Ricochet. Who else you got? Just all these awesome guys from the indies, even the guys from New Japan and Ring of Honor, and some of the guys from TNA. You guys start offering them real money, and your roster on your Raw and SmackDown is showing. It's hard to pick from NXT right now. NXT right now is nothing but vets. You got Shinsuke Nakamura, who's been around forever. You have Samoa Joe, who's been around forever. You have Bobby Roode. You have Asuka. You have Austin Aries. A lot of guys. You have not No Way Jose, but Andrade Cien Almas. All these guys have been around for a long time. If you pick those guys out, like, look at NXT, I guess, last year, and you had, Steen was there, and Sami Zayn was there, and Sasha and Charlotte, and all the names, and even then, like Steen and Finn Balor, all these guys, they were around, but they were just a handful of guys who were down there with the guys that you were developing into WWE superstars. Now it's nothing but vets, all veterans down there that are, I'm not going to say hogging the spotlight because I'm enjoying it, but who are definitely taking the spotlight. And if you take your Shinsuke's and your Joes and your Austin Aries and you put them on these shows, who the hell is left down there? And you can tell, like, go back and look at the roster right now and look at the guys that they made in developmental and NXT and look where they are right now. Other than a really cool entrance, what has Baron Corbin done? Other than, of course, the Andre Memorial Battle Royal, which was his first day on the main roster. Ever since then, what the hell has he done? Who have we put a search out? SOS. Tyler Breeze. What happened to his career? Put him back in NXT. Neville was around. I can't really say Neville. Neville's saving grace is the damn cruiserweight division. He should be in there immediately. Once Kendrick. This Kendrick and Perkins. By the way, going back to CWC, Perkins won. Probably the one guy I didn't want to win, but I'm not too upset about it. It's whatever. But, once Perkins and Kendrick is done, you got to have somebody down there. And I think Neville should be the guy to either chase the title, to hold the title, and to be like the really, really top dog of that division. Either way, I hope they do this again next year. The CWC I'm referring to. Ricochet should be there next year. Hopefully you have maybe like a Will Ospreay there next year. Hopefully like an Adam Cole, a Kyle O'Reilly. Hopefully next year it's a lot better. They're supposed to be, at least they're thinking about doing this for the women. I don't think that's a bad idea because you can get a nice handful of women from like Shimmer and, you probably get them to come to WWE and, rebuild that women's division, at least in NXT. They're just trying to do that right now, but it's definitely, they're struggling. I'd say they're struggling for sure. The women's division, and I'm kind of jumping around here, the women's division on SmackDown, I like that they're trying. They're trying new people. Nikki Bella came back, and obviously you thought that she was going to be, the top dog of that division, but Becky Lynch ended up winning the SmackDown Women's Championship, and now she's facing Alexa Bliss at the pay-per-view, and I think that's really cool that they're giving these girls a chance to try things, and it's not just going to be Nikki Bella who, is the champion for fucking a year again. WWE Backlash was, when was that? Last weekend or weekend before? It was in Richmond. It was, I don't know, 5 minutes away from where I live. But looking at that card, couldn't justify spending the money. I saw tickets as low as $11 for really good seats. And I passed on it. And looking at the show at home, I'm kind of glad I did because there won't much on this show. The six-pack women's championship match was okay. The tag team tournament was not very good. Miz and Ziggler, I thought that was Miz's best match, in my opinion. Orton had a concussion, so he didn't even have a match with Bray Wyatt. And then Kane faced Bray Wyatt in a no-holds-barred match and beat Bray Wyatt. What the fuck is going on with Bray Wyatt? Go back and look at my video. And didn't I call those fools complacent? Every last one of them. Complacent. I guess right now the complacent one is Braun Strowman. And he ain't been there but 6 months. Maybe a little bit longer than that. But you kind of get the picture. AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose. AJ Styles is fantastic. If he's not in your Wrestler of the Year votes, check your list again because this guy's been just incredible. But I thought the show overall was, it was okay. But, I didn't think you really missed much if you didn't see it. It's definitely going to be a struggle with these two pay-per-views. Having to watch basically two pay-per-view every 2 weeks. It's definitely going to be a task to keep up with these. Hogan's coming back. I guess he's his likeness has been into like the network commercials and all this different stuff going on. So I guess they're going to bring him back maybe at WrestleMania. I don't know. We shall see. That's all I really have today. I just want to kind of get my thoughts on some things in WWE. Other things in wrestling. Looking forward to the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. I don't know why I call him the whole name. PWG Battle of Los Angeles. Kind of avoiding spoilers. If you're being so kind, don't spoil the winner for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. TNA. I've enjoyed the. I don't know if I've said this on video yet, but I've enjoyed the. What do you call it? The deletion, the grand deletion, the shit with Matt Hardy, Broken Matt, and Jeff, and I've dug it, man. And I've got my hands on looking at the stuff, ahead of it showing, and I've got to say that it's very entertaining. This is something that you couldn't do for a whole promotion. It's definitely crossing the lines of like Lucha Underground, but I think if you had this mix with your regular wrestling, pretty much like they do, I think you really have a good mix. But TNA's whole thing is no one's watching the show. There's not much interest around it. They have a really good roster, and like I said, their shows haven't been bad. I've enjoyed Bobby Lashley and Bobby Lashley is champion, and the whole thing with EC3, and I've kind of dug it. Not enough to spend money on a pay-per-view or anything, or to really keep up with it week to week, but from the little bit that I see, I've enjoyed it a lot. I think they're in the process of being sold. I'm not 100% sure right now. I heard some reports of WWE trying to buy them. At this point, it's just basically buying a video library, and that's it. What can you do with a TNA, with the name TNA? You can't do anything with it. Some of the wrestlers in there, I guess you can get their contract and sign them for WWE, but other than that, you can pretty much get rid of most of them. TNA is just a sad sight. Y'all know how much I used to be a TNA fan, and just to see them at this point, it sucks a lot. Ring of Honor, I've watched the pay-per-views, but haven't been keeping much, keeping up with them much. Adam Cole's champion, I think that's good. He's part of the Bullet Club, so is Adam Page. All these guys are part of Bullet Club. It's getting very NWO-ish, I can say that, because you got Bullet Club pretty much in every promotion. You have it in Ring of Honor. You have it in New Japan. You pretty much have it in WWE, even though it kind of spread out. You pretty much have the Bullet Club in WWE as well. So, like I said, it's getting a little NWO-ish right now, but I am glad to see Adam Cole as WWE champion, as Ring of Honor champion. At this point, it's time for him to go to WWE, so hopefully that happens soon. New Japan, G1. I feel like I've talked about this. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. G1 was great. It was long, but it was great. Especially the last couple of days. Kenny Omega should be the champion within, by the kingdom. He should be champion for sure. I've really enjoyed him. New Japan, they're good, man. They lose at the beginning of the year. They lose two of your top 4 stars. The top 4 stars in that company, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kazuchika Okada, Shinsuke Nakamura, and AJ Styles. Those are the top 4 guys in the company at the beginning of the year. And on the 5th day of the year, they lost both Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles. You can't do Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi again. You cannot do that match again. It's overdone. So they had to build some guys up, and Tetsuya Naito and Kenny Omega are those guys, and I think it's brilliant what they've done. Kenny Omega, who, he was a guy, and, he could work well, but you didn't see him as a main eventer. You didn't see him as, one of the best in the business, and now you see that he won the G1, and he's going to cash in his title against Okada at the Dome, and that's going to be a fucking amazing match. Hats off to them. If you don't have the New Japan Network, I highly recommend you get that, especially now. I don't know if it's now, but they've been doing it for a while. Any Ring of Honor show that has New Japan talent on it is on the New Japan Network. And I think that's really, really awesome. It'd be so sweet if they ROH could combine like an over-the-top network that they have with New Japan, that'll be sweet. I'm just fancy booking at this point. But again, I just want to kind of give my feelings on wrestling. We're coming to the dead zone of the year. That's that holiday, holiday period. November will be fun because they're going to Toronto for Survivor Series and an NXT takeover, and that's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to watch that. Very much looking forward to watching that at home. Even I would love to go, but I've seen two of the last 3 takeovers I've been to live, so I'm very much looking forward to actually watching one at home. So that should be a lot of fun. But that's a couple months away. So until then, I am Mr. Classic 8. Peace.